In what way does your media product use, develop, or challenge forms and conventions of real media products? After my decision of choosing to create a short film, a film poster, and a magazine review page for my A2 Media coursework, I underwent extensive primary and secondary research into the forms and conventions of these products, in order to have a concept of what I wanted to use, develop, and challenge in my own media text. In addition to this, I decided to refresh my knowledge in film by looking again at the camera shots, angles, and compositions used in filming. As well as this, I also looked at sound and mise-en-scene. In order to create a successful short film, firstly I had to understand the codes and conventions of a short film. I did this by analysing a range of short films from the popular website YouTube. I learned about various conventions of a short film, such as the number of characters, the budget, the length, and the situation. I took what I had learned and decided to not only conform to some of these conventions, but to try and challenge a few as well. The conventions that I conform to are the number of characters involved in a short film, the budget, and the length. From my research, I gathered that in a typical short film, there is normally a maximum of 2 to 3 characters. This is because the film is roughly 5 to 10 minutes in length. Therefore, no secondary characters are used because there is not enough time for the audience to get to know multiple characters. Being short films do not have the time, unlike regular length films, to create a deep story and history between the characters. Because of this, the number of characters is kept to a minimum to allow the audience to relate to a character in the time of the film. In my short film, The Man in the Mask, I used a maximum of 3 characters: Jordan, the Stalker, and Ben. I feel that this was a perfect amount of characters for my short film. By conforming to the convention, it allowed my audience to connect and relate to Jordan and Ben in particular in the time length of my short film. As well as this, I also conformed to the budget convention of a short film by sticking to 2 locations, and by using standard camera equipment. I used a Canon 700D to film all of my scenes. I had no microphone, and I also filmed the majority of my scenes handheld in order to add the shaky cam effect of a horror film. I shot my short film in a range of different camera shots and angles, including over the shoulder, 2-shot, low, mid and high angles, and point of view in an attempt to immerse the audience into my scenes. The situation of a short film is something that I found interesting. Short films usually take an everyday situation to which the audience can relate to, in some form. Then something happens which disrupts the normality. What this ultimately does is allow the audience to relate, but at the same time feel intrigued by the disruption. This relates to Todorow's equilibrium theory, and this is something that I wish to challenge in my short film. Todorow's equilibrium theory consists of a plot that is normal and that the audience can relate to. Normality is disrupted, but then at the end, normality is resumed. In my short film, however, I chose to challenge this by having the antagonist appear at the very end, just before the cutoff. This is where the audience realises that Jordan's dream was in fact not a dream, but some form of premonition that is now in fact reality. Everything the audience has seen is going to reoccur, only this time it could possibly end in Jordan's actual death. Therefore, normality does not in fact resume at all. In regards to my film poster, I deconstructed and analysed a range of film posters in order to help me understand the conventions of a film poster, as well as what it takes to create an effective film poster that will attract the intended audience. In the film posters that I analysed to the genre that I had chosen, I noticed that the antagonist is always front and centre in the film poster. This is to strike a small sense of fear in the intended audience, making them want to go and watch in order to find out what makes this antagonist so scary for the other characters in the film. This is something I conformed to and used in my own product by placing the man in the mask in the centre of my poster. Although you cannot see his eyes, which I feel also creates a sense of mystery, as the audience does not know his identity, he is looking directly at the audience, ultimately directly addressing my intended audience, similar to the film posters that I'd researched. Furthermore, I also used similar dark colours to that I analysed and added a shadowy effect to help my poster become a little bit more professional. I placed the title of the films and the cast names at the top, and placed the credits, rating and coming soon towards the bottom end of my poster. I chose to challenge the convention of review ratings and left them out, simply not to allow my film poster to become cluttered, as I wanted the audience to get a good look at the man in the mask. Overall, I feel that I used a good range of conventions for my film poster, and I am happy with the outcome. Finally, for the magazine review, I looked at 3 magazine reviews of films such as Spider-Man and Pirates of the Caribbean. I use various forms and conventions in my own product by adding snapshots of the film, the time duration, the plot, an honest review laid out in columns with a simple layout, colour scheme, and house style. Looking back, I am happy with the outcome. However, I feel that I could improve on my review page in order to make it more effective and eye-catching for my intended audience. To conclude, I've used a range of forms and conventions in all of my products. Not only have I used a range of conventions, I have also challenged some in an attempt to create successful and effective products that could compete with real media text.